Once upon a time, deep within an ancient forest, there lived an owl who was known for his wisdom. He had feathers that were the color of moonlight and eyes that shone with the brilliance of stars. Every night, he would sit on his branch and contemplate the mysteries of the universe, where the animals of the forest would come to him for advice. But our wise old owl was not content with the wisdom he had. He wanted more. And so one day he decided to go on a quest to find the secret of eternal wisdom. He flew over hills and valleys, through thick forests, and across sparkling rivers, searching for an answer to his question. Just when his wings were about to give out and his eyes were drooping with fatigue, he saw a tiny cottage nestled between some trees. Smoke was curling from its chimney, and the sound of a gentle, mesmerizing music drifted from within. Landed on a nearby branch and knocked on the door with his beak. A moment later, the door opened, and there stood the most beautiful woman the owl had ever seen. Her hair was like spun gold, her eyes twinkled like stars, and her smile was as radiant as the moon. "Hello, little owl," she said. "What can I do for you?" The owl explained to her that he was looking for the secret to eternal wisdom. But no one in the forest could help him, so he was hoping that she might know the answer. The woman listened patiently, and when the owl finished, she replied, "I believe I can help you, but it will require a small task from you." The owl, desperate for wisdom, agreed to any task. And so the woman led the owl into the garden behind her cottage. It was filled with all kinds of magical plants and flowers that hummed with energy. She instructed the owl to collect the morning dew from the plant that sang the sweetest song. The owl flew to the plant and listened intently to its song. It was indeed the sweetest song he had ever heard, and he carefully collected the dewdrops in a small jar. But just as he was about to leave, the plant began to shake violently, and a large spider crawled out of its leaves. The spider hissed at the owl and warned him that if he took its life, then it would take the owl's life as well. Terrified, the owl dropped the jar, which shattered into pieces, and the spider, seeing its chance, lunged at the owl. But before it could do any harm, the woman appeared and with a wave of her magic wand, turned the spider into a beautiful butterfly. Then she led the owl back to the plant and instructed him to try again, to collect the dew from its leaves. This time, the owl was more careful. He waited until the plant had calmed down and hummed its sweet song once more. He collected the dewdrops in the jar and returned to the woman. She smiled at the owl and said, "You have done well, little owl, and you have shown great patience and wisdom. The secret you seek is inside this jar." The owl, confused, looked inside the jar, but all he saw was some water. The woman chuckled and said, "You are looking at it the wrong way. Close your eyes and listen." The owl closed his eyes and listened intently, and then he heard it, the faintest of music, like the whisper of the wind through the leaves. He opened his eyes and saw that the water in the jar was moving. At first it was just a gentle ripple, but then it began to swirl faster and faster until it formed a miniature whirlpool. Suddenly, the water exploded, and a brilliant light filled the jar. The owl shielded his eyes, and when he could see again, he gasped in amazement. Sitting on a bed of clouds inside the jar was a tiny yet majestic lion. Its mane was like spun gold, and its eyes blazed with the wisdom of ages. The lion looked at the owl and spoke in a deep, resonant voice. "You have shown great courage and wisdom on your journey, little owl, and because of that, I will grant you a wish." The owl, overwhelmed with gratitude, asked for the wisdom to guide and protect the animals of the forest. And with that, the lion vanished, leaving the owl alone with his precious gift.
Ow!
Flew back to his home in the forest, and from that day on, he became known as the wisest of all owls. The animals of the forest gathered around him, seeking his guidance and protection, and he never forgot the valuable lesson he learned from the mysterious woman and the magical lion.